Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do, the usual disclaimers. If you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non for profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused, so folks, you know the drill. Please read that article, share it on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever actually does see through with their threat. All right, trigger warning number 1. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, or Agape boarding school for boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please utilize your headphones. Trigger warning 2. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion. We speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously, parental supervision is advised. Warning in advance, I'm suffering horribly from allergies. So if you hear any weird throat noises, sneezes, or it sounds like I'm hacking up my lung, my apologies in advance. Also, again, apologize for my ugly mug, but makeup is a lot of work, people. It's like at least 2.5 hours, a lot of work. So please forgive me for that, all right? Okay, where we left off. The FDA disagrees that the report is misleading and biased. Thank you! In regards to the New York. As the 2006 report states, the INSEAD undertook a review based on documentation it received subsequent to its 2005 inspections. As I said in my previous video, you could have one of the best guided tours of a program on planet Earth. If, however, after you do those visits and you give those positive remarks, you receive a ton of reports and it looks like something shady's going on. And once the committee has all gathered together and has determined that there is enough of those reports that makes it look like something possibly dark and shady is going on, that's when the unannounced visits take place. To indicate that this is biased is insane. It is the same protocol used on every single other treatment plan, program, group home, or residential school program on planet Earth. All right. That documentation, according to INSEAD, raised concern about JRC's use of aversive interventions, as well as recent questions from legislators. The 2005 Special Education Quality Assurance Non-District Program Review. The earlier INSEAD report was more general, focusing on areas of greatest significance to the health and safety and provision of special education programs and services. In contrast, the 2006 observations and findings of out of state program visitation was specifically conceived to gain an understanding of the scope of the behavior intervention plans, paying particular attention to, pay attention to this, folks, pay attention, take notes if you need to, health and safety issues related to the use of aversive interventions. Remember, folks, No other program on the face of planet Earth has been given the get out of jail free card to use the horrific type of adversive interventions that the JRC has. It makes all the sense in the world, especially if the students are coming from out of state, like in the case of New York, that they want to make sure that those adversives are being used as prescribed, even if it's barbaric as hell to literally every other person on planet Earth, and make sure that they're not causing some extreme health concerns, all right? Number two, the general standard for implementing and monitoring behavior plans, which is the responsibility of all the state departments, whether it is the State Education Board, the New York counterpart to DMH out here. That's our job, folks. That is our job, to make sure that they are meeting state standards in regards to behavior plans. It's our job to monitor those plans, to make sure that the program that the consumer is in is doing what they're supposed to do. Not just that, though, but are able to show the progress in regards to those plans in hitting the goals that have been established previously. Okay? And that is the same thing that we do for every other single program. All right? Whether the interventions were commensurate with, sorry, I can't talk, commensurate with the individual's behavioral difficulties, which means, are the interventions that are being utilized within the program that the JRC has created, are they actually assisting in regards to behavioral difficulties? Are the students getting better? Are the more difficult behaviors beginning to become less and less and less or not? And most important of all, is the plan being used correctly? Or are you literally using punishment if a kid stands up for more than 3 seconds? All right. And to determine if individuals were receiving interventions consistent with the individualized education programs. This is the responsibility of our state education departments, to make sure whatever program that they end up sending their students to is actually meeting up with the goals established in the IEP. And are they following the guidelines as set down in the IDEA? This is why I hammer on parents as a mentor that one of the most important things they can do in regards to their kids is memorize the IDEA. Memorize it. Or have a copy of it laminate in your hands, on your lap, every single IEP meeting. Okay? Just like the full functional behavioral assessment, I can't overestimate you the importance of knowing what your child's entitled to in regards to the IDEA, and also to know what they are entitled to in regards to developing a good IEP plan for their education. All right? This becomes more pertinent when you receive report after report after report of these students underperforming when compared to the rest of New York State, Massachusetts, and the entire area. And remember, folks, New York State Education, that home department, they were receiving those reports. They were seeing where these kids were testing at, okay? And they were testing far below the other plans, programs, and schools where their peers were going. Okay? If you are underperforming to that extent, that's when the New York State Department or any other state department begins to get concerned, particularly when you have such positive notes on the 2005, but the test results are not matching the positive feedback. Something isn't right in the state of Denmark. You know what I'm saying? In such situations, that's when they come to us. And if then, during that time period, they begin to hear about the reports coming out of that place and it's not looking good, you see how the steps work, right? Yeah. Again, we don't just do it to pick on particular programs. It is the same protocol as every other program, and it is the same level of oversight as every other program. It's literally our jobs. All right. If the individuals are performing far below their peers who are parts of other programs, if it looks like what form of treatment the JRC is using is not anything that was indicated within the IEP program. If they use treatment programs that no one asked for, you see what I'm trying to say here, right? I'm tired. Forgive me if I'm not giving you the best explanation on planet Earth. The point is, reports come in and it looks like the students are undergoing things that are not a part of their IEP program. If the students are consistently underperforming from their other peers in other programs, if there is enough DESI reports where violence, physical assaults, and medical documents show that something dark and wrong is going on, that's how these unannounced visits happen. It's not bias, it's set protocol. All right. And even within those visits, we are under our own protocol. Okay. Very, very strict guidelines. If we show any form of bias at all, that's not just our jobs, that's our ability to ever work within the same field again. Okay. And that's just being kind. All right. I appreciate that the FDA also is bringing up some of the exact same points that I was bringing up. Okay. Going into a little bit more even depth than what I did. Making it very clear that there is protocol here. That unannounced visits, because we're just picking at the JRC, twiddling our mustaches, bored, saying, I know what would be fun today. It's not how it works. And I appreciate them making it blatantly clear. But again, as far as it is great for them to point out the very same things that I've been saying for over the last decade, it doesn't mean anything because at the end of the day, they backed off to the point that they didn't go after the device in question and used vaguer terms, which drew in a whole bunch of different devices under different circumstances that were never a part of the question in the first place. Okay? All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and close out on this one for today. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and please, folks, don't forget to use the comments. I do appreciate your time. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye bye, everyone.